What is up, everyone? Welcome, episode 20, Meet the Press podcast with my friend Jared McDonald's. My friend, how are you today?
Not bad, man. Just got back from work all day. I feel like every time we start recording this, I have to like pose for the camera for like 5 seconds as it starts up because this one time I wasn't in the thumbnail image that went out on Facebook for it.
No, man, it
My
was
eye,
awful.
yeah, wasn't it like your mom or
Yeah,
your aunt or something saw
it
it
was
and
my
we're like,
mom.
yeah,
Yeah,
your mom was like, "Is this kid okay? Like, what's wrong with him?"
yeah, it was. I think literally, like, you sent it to me at the exact time that I saw it. And then she sent it to me like right after. And I was like, yeah, that's one we may not share as much.
Are you kidding,
But
man? I thought that would have been a great teaser. Draw people in. Like, what is this crazy guy talking about?
I mean, it probably works. I mean, it probably doubles our usual count of. I mean, I told you before. I think me and your mom are your biggest fans because we liked one of your stories you posted the other day.
Man, I had a couple people today tell me that they listened to the podcast just out of nowhere.
That's a
One of them,
super cool
what?
feeling, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, one of them was my boy John Duncan. He does the Blazer Victory podcast down in Birmingham. Sent me a picture of Cookout and said I had to go after listening to the podcast. And I was like, man, makes me
You're
happy.
all. I'm always searching for that like similar experience. Doesn't hold up. But yeah, who else? Who else has said something to you?
Someone that works in Western's athletic department.
Oh,
I ran
nice.
into him in my apartment complex parking lot. That was a surprisingly difficult arrangement of words, but
Yeah,
yeah, just after I got back from work before we started recording this, talked to him for a while, and yeah, it is a
that's
good feeling
cool.
now.
It's okay. So, how is it different from somebody saying they read your story? Because I know it feels different to me too than somebody saying they read my story.
It definitely feels different, just because this is our thing, like this is us.
Right.
This
I feel like this takes a
this
little bit more effort on their part.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
it's not. It doesn't have the following that the Daily News has, because the Daily
Right.
News has been around since what, 1800s or so.
Yeah.
So
And we've been
that
around
is the news organization in Bowling Green, so
20
people know it
episodes.
already. Yeah, I was going into something that's already established there. We're establishing this.
Yeah.
We're
it's still
we're
cool though
laying the foundation.
because like you said, like it's ours. Like it's like when I was in Hoptown or when I was in Owensboro, they're like, "Oh, I read your stuff," and they're like, "Oh, okay." Like I was in the Kentucky Air. Like you said, it was the oldest running business in. It is the oldest running business in Hopkinsville. Of course, you read it. Here, hey, I listened to Meet the Press. I'm like, you listen to me and my weird friend talk about stuff for a half hour on your Sunday night when you could have spent it with your family. Like, what the hell's the matter with you?
And the best
Like,
part is, like, this time of year, there's not that much going on sports wise. So it's like
right.
we've just been bringing up random stuff these last few weeks, and
And you people eat it up. Oh my gosh, it's so easy. That's why everybody makes podcasts nowadays. But
I don't know if I'd say it's easy, but
but
still.
not everyone has guests like our friend Josh Moore, who we had on the most recent episode of Meet the Press that came out earlier this week. Where could they find that, Jared?
They can find that anywhere you can find a podcast. You got Apple, you got
It's true.
Spotify. I'd say those are the big two.
Those are the biggies. Yeah.
Josh tells me he listens on something else. I've never even heard of this thing before, but the Meet the Press podcast is on it apparently. Um, yeah, so anywhere you get your podcast, and I would definitely recommend going back and listening to that episode with Josh, um, former UK football writer and prep sports writer for the Herald Leader in Lexington. He told a great story about Cheetos and lemonade and making a potted meat sandwich on the beach.
I almost texted him about it because I saw a post about potted meat and they were like, "You don't know the struggle." And I was like, "Man, I've ate some struggle meat before." But I have a question. Like the way that it looked, my question is it cooked? Like do I have to cook it or is it supposed to be that super light? It's kind of like a poor man's pate, I feel like.
I've got to be honest, I have never
Pate?
had it. I've never
Is that what
had
I'm
it. I've
thinking
never
of?
had like spam or anything like that.
Tartar. Tartar. A poor man's tartar. Ooh, sorry. Sorry guys. I'm more cultured than that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Never
taste
had it.
liver.
I
I know
never
what it is.
never want to. My cheap meal is usually I did a lot of ramen through college and at my
Oh yeah.
last job back in Maysville. You know, I like those. I like the Dollar Tree, man. The Dollar Tree is
Where's
underrated.
like yeah, I've done those struggle meals in college. Like and and as a sports writer, I've done those
I'll
struggle
still
meals a
do them.
lot.
I'll still do them every
It's
now and again.
it's something it's like you basically just take things that you think go together.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of it. Like you like two things that you like, you're like, "Oh, okay. Like I like these things separately," and then you bind them together with, usually cheese or bread, and then it usually works.
Yeah. No, I don't use recipes really when I cook. I don't bake much. I would use it for that just because it's very
I
simple
have baked
and
a
measure.
lot this week. I say a lot. I baked one thing, but I sent you and people multiple snaps of that.
No, but I watched a lot of cooking shows for a while. I watched a lot of Chopped, a
Yes.
lot of diners, drive-ins, and dives, and guys' grocery games. Big Guy Fieri fan. If he ever wants to come on the podcast, he certainly could.
Do you watch like cooking like TV shows and movies?
Yeah, yeah,
So like
yeah, yeah. I actually just watched The Bear on Hulu. It
The
was so
Bear's
good.
great because yeah, Bear's great. I literally saw a headline, I think right before I walked in here into my office about how it's basically how it actually is for a kitchen staff, like how that environment is. And I have a cousin who is a chef in South Carolina. My uncle manages a restaurant outside of Memphis, and like they say, I mean that's that environment. And yeah, the Bear, I feel like, but I like that main guy. What's his face? But yeah, I thought the
Uh,
Bear was super good.
Lip from
Lip. His name is
from
Lip.
Shameless.
Yeah,
I don't know his actual name,
yeah.
but
I
yeah,
don't
no.
know.
Like,
Yeah,
have you ever worked in a restaurant?
I worked at a Panera.
I wouldn't count
Does
that.
that count?
I
What? That wouldn't
I
count.
mate, it's not the same.
The
That's
food
hospital. What did
industry.
you do? Did you put it in a microwave?
No,
But
I worked up front.
I worked in
I
a
worked up
restaurant one
front.
time. That was my first job. The
My
local
brother,
restaurant.
my brother waits tables in the Hamptons sometimes.
Really?
Mhm.
He'd probably
So
get more of the experience than I got because it was not like my experience in a restaurant. I bussed tables the summer after I graduated high school at a restaurant in my hometown. It was at a location where restaurants went to die. Um,
how big was your
a
hometown? Have we talked about this? How many people
a
would you say live there like right now?
few thousand maybe. I
Oh
graduated
wow,
with
that
like
many?
50
Okay.
kids. Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, it's
See,
one
like
stoplight town. They didn't have any fast food. Well, I guess they had Subway, but it was like located in the back of a convenience store.
see, like my hometown has nothing. There's
But
probably like
what did you
600
have
people
close
there.
by? Like
There's
we
a
could drive.
McDonald's like 25 minutes away, probably.
Yeah,
That's probably the closest. We have no stoplights. But anyway, the Bear. Yeah, go
yeah.
for it.
No, it was good.
Go.
No, it
Tell
did
me
not
about your
remind
rest.
me.
What
It
was the restaurant called?
Moe's Roadside Eatery. It took me a second to think of it. I was bussing tables, but in that show is it's like basically the premise is this very famous, up and coming chef. He's working at the best restaurants in the world. Goes back home to Chicago. His brother had committed suicide, and he had owned a restaurant. And the younger brother goes and takes it over and tries to, you know, bail out the struggling restaurant and fix it back up. The difference
Also,
was that was they still had customers coming in. The one I worked at, nobody went to.
also, it
So I
had
didn't
Maddie
have any tables to
Matheson.
bus.
Do you know who Maddie Matheson is?
No,
So
probably, but
Maddie Matheson was like their fix-it guy that had all the tattoos.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So he's a real chef. Like Maddie Matheson is like a professional like chef. Like he's got restaurants in like Canada and he's got shows on YouTube and all kinds of stuff.
I did
It's
not
really
know that at
good.
all.
Yeah, it's really he's awesome. Yeah.
And he's like the one
I'll
guy that
send you
doesn't
some of
cook
his
in that
stuff.
show.
Yeah, he's the one guy that doesn't cook in that show. That's why I thought that was super
I,
funny.
I
But
wish
yeah,
I knew that now going in.
I'll send you some of his stuff now. Yeah, he's
But
great.
no, that show was really good, man. I watched it all in like a
Have
single
you ever
day.
seen
It's super easy to watch.
have you ever seen Burn with
Burn.
Bradley Cooper?
No, is that a
That's
movie
a
or a show?
It's a movie. It's got Bradley Cooper.
You know the answer.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I don't watch movies.
But you say Lip, so does that mean so you watch Shameless?
I did. Yeah, I watched Shameless.
Did you like it?
Do you remember that episode of this podcast where we talked about bacon and how I felt about bacon?
Yes, I vaguely remember it.
And I feel pretty much the same way about Shameless. Like, it's good. I enjoy it. I think it's a little bit overhyped.
Okay. Okay.
It was still good. I watched it all. Like, every time a new season would come out on Netflix, because I didn't have whatever was it on Showtime. I didn't have that. So
I think it was Showtime. Yeah.
when it came out on Netflix, the newer seasons, I would watch those, and it was fine.
I feel like being from Illinois and having friends from the Chicagoland area, I feel like I saw it from more of that aspect. In that, what?
Nothing. I was just listening.
Oh, and like my aunt lived in Chicago, like all like my growing up time. So, like when they talk like Lakeshore Drive, like my aunt lived on Lakeshore Drive, and so like I remember those parts of Chicago, and so that's why like I like the show just because I like seeing that side of like, oh, I knew people from there, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really. I guess I kind of feel that way when I watch stuff based in, like Boston area because I went to school up that way. Like, have you ever seen the movie The Town?
Of course, I've seen the movie The Town.
Yeah. Every time I watched that, I was like, yeah, that's how I live there. And then, but I was in a really rich suburb, so it was like total opposite of that. Like private, liberal arts school, small school, and I think it was voted like the safest neighborhood in America on multiple occasions. So it was not, but still, I
You
like,
weren't really in the part of the town that the town is about.
Didn't go south even when I am. No.
What about like Good Will Hunting? Like, is that another one for you? What? Are you kidding? Stop it. Are you serious?
Yeah, never seen it. Told you I don't watch many movies, man.
You have to watch it. Like tonight. You have to watch Good Will Hunting. Jared.
Probably won't.
Dude, you have to watch Good Will Hunting because it's a great ass movie, number one. And number two, you just said something The Town. It's literally got like almost like the same people that are in that. Ben Affleck. I think that may be it. But like that's enough. His best friend, his best friend, Matt Damon.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, I probably won't watch it though. I'm just being real.
Dude, it's got Robin Williams. Like seriously, it's got Robin Williams in it.
Would it make you feel better if I said I would watch it and then I lied to you and didn't watch it?
Maybe at this point.
I can like Spark Notes it or something. Did you ever use that in school?
Yes, I use that in school.
You're not teaching anymore. You can say.
Yes, of course I use that in school. Yeah, I was an English teacher in school or at a school, whatever. But yeah, of course I did. Man, that's weird that you've never seen Good Will Hunting. I'm kind of honestly surprised.
It is what it is. But like the bear, like you know how we talked about Hustle on the podcast before, the new Adam Sandler movie on Netflix?
Right. Yes.
Like basketball's super fast paced, and I love the way that they cut that. So it was like really quick. It's not like a High School Musical,
Yeah,
which I also haven't seen. But I know there's like a basketball scene in there or something.
I also have not seen High School Musical.
But like, or most sports movies, it's not like it's the quick cuts, and that's like how it was in the Bear.
Right.
But honestly, one of my favorite episodes on that, there were no cuts at all. Did you catch that? I think it was the 7th episode. It was like the shortest one. It was like 20 minutes, but they did it in a single take.
I think
like
so.
They recorded multiple takes, but it was like a single shot.
No, right. Like yeah.
Yeah, that's super impressive to me.
I think I don't know. I think knowing now, it's funny you said that because being a visual person, like a person now that like I taught a video editing class, like I've done design, those kind of things. Like whenever you see those commercials for the new iPhone and it's like jumping out of a plane or it's got like you running with the bulls and it's like all of this was shot on an iPhone 4 and it's like holy shit, like those are things that like me as a visual person I'm like I like that's a crazy thing. um but I think you would like Bear for that exact same reason in that like it has those quick cuts, like it has the I'm trying to think of a chefy thing, like putting the microgreens with a tweezer on top of something, like
Yeah.
that kind of look. Also, it's got Bradley
It,
Cooper.
you mean Burn? Burn, yeah.
Burn, yeah,
Yeah,
Burn
I was
has
gonna say
Bradley Cooper.
I did like the bear. It made me
Yeah.
wanna cook it made me wanna cook, though. That's when I
Oh
texted
man,
you
I
this
cooked
week,
so
and I
much
was
this
like,
week.
man, that's when I texted you, I was like, "Hey, man, you wanna open a food truck?
What's your
Like, you wanna
favorite thing
start
you've
one?"
cooked this week? What's your favorite? What's
Oh,
your favorite
no,
thing you've made this
I
week?
didn't say I have cooked this week.
Oh,
I said it made
you
me
said it made me want to cook.
cook.
It made me want to cook. Okay, that's
No,
fair.
hot dogs. I've been wanting those Nathan's Famous ever since the 4th of July. Let's be honest. Had a lot of hot dogs.
I actually cooked a lot this week. I baked this week too. Made some desserts. They were delicious. Yeah, so I'm down for the food truck, man.
Yeah. We were we were throwing around some ideas. If anybody wants to invest in a food truck business,
Yeah,
just
man,
let
reach
us
out
know.
to us, or you want to sponsor this, or you want to sponsor us. Like,
If
I'll
if you have a great local business,
yeah,
are you a barbecue shop owner?
a
Do you
barbecue
have
shop owner.
it came out weird,
Are
but they
you
know. Do you or your loved ones?
have enough life insurance coverage?
No, but like for
Because
real,
we can't provide
if
it.
you were a local business and say you sold like things to keep your cans of beer cold or something, and
Or hats. We
like
obviously like hats.
yeah, we'll just wear them if you give us free stuff.
Yeah,
We
and
have
we'll
no
mention
shame.
you all the time. No, I'll sell myself. I don't care. I'm not worth much, so
Yeah, I think we just lost all interest in.
tenor tenor is perfect.
Have you watched any of the NBA Summer League, or are you pretty much strictly
I have watched the this is gonna be good. I have watched I've watched less summer league than Shadon Sharp has played. That's
that's
how much
impressive.
summer league I know, right? I watched a little bit of Chet the other night, and then I changed it, and then he got dunked on by Eric Holman, and that's it. That's the
Owen, Owensboro
extent of
kid, right?
Owensboro kid. Yeah, Red Devil. Yeah.
No, the thing that stuck out to me, man, I feel bad. I feel like we're just crapping all over Chet at this point. Was the other night, La Tech, former La Tech player Kenneth Lofton Jr. He's a bigger kid. You know, a lot of people just see him and be like, "No, this
Oh
kid can't
yeah,
move." But
he's a
I've
thick
watched
one.
him,
He's a
probably
thick one.
somewhere between 5 and 10 times in person. And he is very agile. He's very smooth with what he does. He's a fun player to watch, man. The once or twice I've passed him in the hall, he seems like a nice kid.
There was a
That's
kid
just from very
from
limited experience.
there was a kid from middle that kind of reminds me of that. I forgot what his name was, but he was like maybe 6'2", 6'1". Like, I mean, the definition of swole, and the dude, Giddy, give him some. I don't remember, but like the equivalent of like a fullback on a basketball court. Like whenever you like that is your picture. Yeah, but
Yeah, no.
no, I have
Do you,
not watched the summer league.
okay, having not watched the summer league, I
No,
don't know how much college basketball you watched this year, but kind of one of
a
the
fair
debates
amount.
I've seen is, is Chet going to pan out in the NBA or is he too small? What do you think he will?
I saw a GIF the other day, a GIF the other day of um it was like when Chet takes a charge and it was like a train hitting something and the thing like flying away. I mean, I think he's gonna be fine. I mean, he's 700 feet tall. Um He played at Gonzaga. Obviously, they didn't win a ship, which is obviously the goal, but he played pretty well. I think he has to get bigger. He's not gonna get any smaller. So, I mean, if you're happy with what you have right now, obviously you draft him. What, he went number 2? Is that right?
2 or 3, I don't remember, 2 or 3,
Um,
because Paolo went, number 1,
yeah,
right?
Powell went number
To the
1.
Magic, yeah.
Yeah, which I'm awesome with. I think Powell's great, but if you're happy with where Chet is now, obviously this isn't where you want his ceiling to be, but you're going to be happy down the road. I don't think he gets worse. I think he's. I mean, I kind of wish he'd stop talking, but other than that, I'm cool with him.
Yeah, no, I think he's got a good skill set, and, I mean, it's summer league,
I
it's like
think
spring it's like I take it kinda like spring football. It's a great opportunity for guys to maybe, you know, get some eyes on them if they play well, but it's not the end all be all of who's gonna be the guy.
so. We have heard coaches say Jamarian Sharp is going to play in the NBA.
Yeah.
Do you think that this is kind of a Jamarian wants Chet to run the damn house? Like he wants him to win Rookie of the Year. He wants him to go all out because I feel like Jamarian's a super tall dude. He's a super skinny dude. I think Chet is better than Jamarian. I'll say that for the record. Um, do I think Jamarian is anywhere near his ceiling? No, but I think seeing Chet not do terrible at that level against those kind of guys that Jamarian's going to be banging around with in what 2 years, something like that. I think this is going to be kind of a good test because this is going to tell Jamarian where he needs to go. Because obviously, there aren't a lot of dudes you can compare yourself to in the NBA when you're 7 foot, however the heck tall he is.
7'5", Jamarian.
7'5". Yeah. I almost said he was 7'3".
You would have cheated him 2 inches.
I would have cheated him and I would have felt bad.
Because he's every bit of 7'5".
Oh man. I remember I saw him in the parking lot in high school and I was like, "You 7'3" yet?" He goes, "No, I'm still 7'2". And I was like, "Dang." I'm like, "Shucks, we just missed it."
The number of times after games last year, I'd be waiting to talk to him. It happened more so on the road because it was just me there usually covering the games. And I'd be like in some back hallway or tunnel or something, and he'd be walking over, and he'd have to stop like once or twice at least, like after every game, to take a picture with somebody.
Right.
Because you like to see the tall guy and the short
Oh
person
yeah, yeah.
difference, and he always did it. And I'll give him a lot of credit for that. I mean, if I would imagine it would get a little bit annoying, but I mean, he's like a really nice kid.
I I've seen I, I know I've talked about this with other people before. I, I've been at away games and seen Hoptown, and because he would go to a lot of games as a fan, like for soccer and stuff. I remember seeing him on the field after games and stuff. I remember one he was like wearing a blanket, and um, the blanket like he just wore it like straight up, and then like it went like just above his feet, like just as he walked, and it looked like he was floating across the field as he walked, and it was super creepy. Um, yeah, I don't know. I hope it works.
For Jamario or for Chet, for everybody,
It's just for Jamar.
just in general. I just hope life works
I hope
out. man.
I hope everybody has a good time. No, like you said, like I've seen people look at him like he's a freak before, and I know that's got to suck. Like have people look at you like, oh my gosh. And I have to admit, even whenever I don't see him for a long period of time, and I see him again, it's still jarring. Like I've seen him too many times to count. You still see him that tall, it's still jarring.
Well, I
Um,
mean, I'm not like the shortest guy, but I'm definitely not the tallest guy. And I spend most of
that's true.
my
You are neither of those things. Yeah.
yeah, I'm very average, I would say.
Yeah.
Uh, but I spend most of my time working with these very big athletes, Division One football and basketball players. So it
Right.
doesn't matter. Whoever I'm standing up next to, I'm probably going to be smaller than, and that's fine.
Who's the who's a person that you met, interviewed, whatever, that like made you feel small? Not like with their presence, like with their voice or whatever, but like just I guess presence, like physically made you
Not that
feel
they really hurt my feelings.
who made you cry at the end of the night? Who just really just put you down? No, like who have you met that like, holy smokes, that's a big dude?
That's tough to say.
I met Walter
I'm
McCarty at a John A. Logan game
oh
once.
yeah, former Evansville head coach.
Yeah, former Evansville head coach.
Yeah,
That
that didn't end well.
dumpster fire. Um,
That's an episode for another day.
we don't have the time.
But anyway, you met him.
Yeah, he made me feel small. Like I
I,
shook his hand. I got little hands anyway, and I shook his hand. Whoo, that was a tough.
oh yeah, no. I definitely know that feeling.
Yeah,
So that's why I like the shaking hands. It's a nice ritual. But
it
like
is.
also
Yeah.
COVID, when we went to the fist bump, I didn't really have to deal with that as much. But then
Right. Yeah.
when we
yeah.
started transitioning back, I always ended up like I didn't know people would grab my fist, I would grab their fist. It was just
You
super
didn't know the
awkward. Some
mean.
some guy
Yeah.
would give me an elbow. I didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of someone making me feel small, in stature, not belittling me, I'd probably have to.
Other than Bobby Knight. Oh no, that wasn't you. Never mind. Never
No,
mind.
that wasn't me.
Okay.
But it sounds
I
like a
thought
good
that's
story.
right. Oh my gosh, it's gonna
No,
be good.
I'd probably go back to one of my recent interviews, George Bant. Very nice
Oh
guy,
yeah,
but
I
he's a
can see
very
that
big
one.
guy. He's an NFL offensive lineman, so
He's a big fella.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, strong guy. I think a little kid at the celebrity softball game that I was covering, like yelled to him like, "Your biceps are bigger than my head."
How are like I was gonna I was about to be like, how are you with kids? Like you've covered high school stuff, obviously, like how do you do that interaction? Because I know they've interacted with you before and like they interacted with me as well. I know there's a picture that will
Wait,
come up
what
every year. What?
what
Go
what
ahead.
age are we talking about? Like little kids
I
or like high school kids that I covered?
oh no, like 4 to 10,
Four
like
to 10.
younger kids.
I feel like they like me because I smile a lot and I look friendly.
I don't. Well, I was gonna say like I remember one specifically picture that will like come up on my timeline every once in a while, about every year. Of it was Peyton Croft, former Trick County coach, now at Mayfield, boys coach. Like I was at a Trig baseball or softball game, and I had my camera when I was still it was when I was still in Hopkinsville with the new era, and his kid wanted to like learn how the camera worked. And so like I just showed him like how to take a picture, and like Peyton took a picture of me like showing him how to take a picture. And I feel like that was a cool thing just because I don't know. He's probably never gonna remember that. Like in like ever. But I remember that. I think it was cool. Like do you ever like any did they ever like say, oh like take our picture, Mr. Daily
Uh,
News?
Not really. It was mostly like if I was interviewing like a younger high school kid and it was in like a small town that didn't get a lot of attention, like I'd be
Hmm.
standing there with my phone out recording the interview and their like grandparents or something might
Oh yeah. I
might
know.
like
Yeah,
go
I've
over
had
and
that.
take a picture or something. So it's more of
Like of you doing the interview, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It happened in like my first week ever. I think I was in Manchester, Ohio, covering a volleyball match, and I was just doing an interview with someone, and their grandparent like took a picture of me doing it, and I was like, "This is my first week ever being a professional sports reporter." I was like, "That makes me feel super special, way more special than I was."
Is there anything that like a parent or something has told you, like a picture you took or something like that that like they told you and it like made you feel good? Like I know one specific one in my head that I'm playing right now.
Probably, but not
So
that I.
like mine is I know it was when I was in Hopkinsville. I don't remember the specific year. It might have been the final. I think it was the Final Four year for Hoptown boys soccer. And I took a picture of Tyler Greenwell and his brother after a win, and they're like holding each like it's like the side view of them, and like you have like two faces, and like they're facing each other, and they're both like holding each other's head. And like his mom messaged me like one day randomly and was like, "Hey, Tyler's got this like photo like in his dorm. And I was like, I'm like, holy, I'm like, that's cool to me. That's like, I always feel like we say that what we do matters or doesn't matter. I'm sorry. My bad. I don't mean to make every sports writer feel like what they're doing is good or valuable to society, because it's not. Because, we feel like what we're doing is shit 90% of the time. But I do feel like there are those moments that you do remember why you accept shitty pay, why you work long hours, like why you're stressed all the time. Like I do feel like there are days that are like, man, like, and it's after a day that is awful. It gets the worst. And you're like, I'm gonna drink myself to death tonight. Like you wake up super hungover and you're like, I gotta go to this in the middle of nowhere gym at 9 a.m. to talk to this kid. And you talk to that kid, and then like your whole like day changes.
Yeah. No, I know that feeling. I do get what you're saying there. It does matter what we do or what I do. You don't do it anymore.
I'm going
But
back, hopefully, maybe. If somebody wants to hire me.
but yeah, you just don't
Tyler,
recognize it as much.
maybe.
You don't recognize it as much in the moment as you wish you did.
Right. We in the moment we only think about, holy
Meeting
crap,
that
man.
deadline.
I wrote 800 words. 4 people are going to read this story. It's like I spent 9 hours on this, like reporting and like writing and all that. 4 people are going to read it.
Yeah, that's the most disappointing thing sometimes. It's like you feel like you write a really good story, but if it's not like a subject or a person that people are super interested in, it won't do as well performance wise.
Right.
Like you could write the best story ever about, a lacrosse player or an archer or something that had the best background story, and it wouldn't matter as much as 100-word brief about something random.
Right.
Or, not that it wouldn't matter as much, but it wouldn't get as much attention.
Or how like, and this is an episode for another day, but like how fast food stories go. Like I remember whenever I was in Owensboro, like there was a story about it, the like Chick-fil-A, it's like getting a bigger parking lot or something. Like, heck man, like that could have like broken our site. Like people love it. People love hearing about Chick-fil-A, love hearing about Jesus chicken and all that, man. Like it's delicious. Don't get me wrong.
Well,
But
I can't say anything because Don Sargent, who is like our business writer at the Daily News, I read his stories more than probably anybody because he writes a lot about the new businesses, that come to Bowling Green.
so I remember whenever I was at the New Era, I don't know if you guys do this, that like I would always remember, and I don't remember what it is now, but like what day the restaurant like health inspections like come in, and I would go through all the new ones and just to like make sure like don't go here. Oh man, I need to go here. I'm not gonna go here, and like I would go through before we would put them out, and just to like make sure. Is that bad?
No,
Is that bad?
because I see like the ones in Lexington pop up sometimes, and I will look at them and be like, "Yep, that one checks out."
It's not Drake's on Tate's Creek, is it? Isn't that where we go? Is it Tate's Creek where we go, or
I don't know. I haven't been there in a hot minute.
I just know because it's always close to the track complex.
Yeah,
Who?
I haven't been to state track for Kentucky high school stuff in years now.
3 years? Probably
Probably.
been 3 years.
Yeah.
So Jared, who is your prize pig of the week?
I think I'm gonna go back home for this one. Don't do this very often, but there's a young basketball player around where I'm from,
Oh, that's a good one.
about 2 towns over. One of those towns doesn't have a whole lot. Really small.
You said your town had a couple thousand people. That's a butt ton. But continue.
Not compared to normal places, but anyway, recognizing this week a young kid, class of 2025 basketball player from Newport, Maine, Cooper Flag. He was playing in the FIBA U17 World Cup, basketball tournament this past week. They beat Spain in the final in the championship game earlier today, and he's been really blowing up on Twitter, on social media. It could just be because I have a lot of Maine people on there, but I've seen it from people in Kentucky. I've seen it from national people. In the championship game, he had 10 points, 17 rebounds, 2 assists, 8 steals, and 4 blocks. He's just stuffed the stat sheet. I believe he's got offers from like Duke, maybe Iowa, and Michigan. Just 15 years old, and you don't see a lot of basketball players from the state of Maine and basketball players,
What are you guys good at up there?
playing at that level.
What are you guys good at up there? Is it hockey?
Sure.
What?
No, not a lot of high schools in Maine have hockey because there's not that many people, and hockey is an expensive sport to have too, and it's just not in a lot of budgets.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
what's the big sport there?
Hockey. I don't think I'd say there is one. It's not like
Well,
Kentucky, and it's like Sweet 16 basketball or like Alabama or any of the southern states in football or baseball. It's just we play, we have fun.
Everybody has a good
Not
time.
many of us are going pro. Not many of us are going D1 because there's only one D1 school in the state. There's no D2. You don't have the prevalence of the NAIA schools like you do here in Kentucky. So
That's true. I'm gonna go kind of far too, but I'm gonna go to the professional ranks, and it just happened today, actually. But Jared, I don't know how much you follow the St. Louis Cardinals, but it has been a pretty rough week. Pretty rough week. Haven't scored a lot of runs. They have come at a premium, is what you and the biz would say. But today, thankfully, in all his witchcraft and wizardry, Miles Michaelis decided to take sage and burn it at Busch Stadium today, and to cleanse it of the evil spirits. And the Cardinals beat the Phillies today. So, I mean, a few years ago, 10 years ago, we had the rally squirrel, which came up and was a thing that led to Game 6 of the 2011 World Series. That was the greatest game of all time, which you could hear about on a new podcast called Goat Game coming out soon.
nice
But thanks. I think this is kind of a similar thing. So shout out Miles Michaelis to using that fun sage magic to get rid of those evil spirits.
When you said you were going to go kind of far away, I thought you were going to say Zach Wilson.
No, man. Zach Wilson. He's moved up to number 2 in the AFC East quarterback rankings. He might have been 2 before, but he's definitely solidified the 2 spot now. Okay, if you guys don't, okay, I'm going to read a tweet, so it's not on me, so it's not my fault. But I just want this. So this is like the easiest. If you have children, you should probably like turn it down or something. But so this is a Twitter account that I see that I saw kind of break down the whole Zach Wilson thing, and I think it's great. So for those of you who don't know, Zach Wilson is the quarterback for the New York Football Jets. That small thing, they don't actually play in New York. They actually play in New Jersey. There's only one football team that plays in New York. I don't know if you know who they are, Jared, but we can go over that later. But so Zach Wilson came out today that he's a dog. And so this is what it says. So Zach Wilson and his girlfriend, Abby, broke up, but then she started dating his best friend from BYU, Dax Milne. But then it came out that Zach was also hooking up with his mom's best friend. That would have been a good one too, though.
Yeah, I don't know how we can continue have any other topics of conversation.
I will say that's the most explicit we've gotten in 20 episodes.
Yeah. It's mostly just been a lot of talk about Sports and meat.
I've had a lot of people say they're like, "Oh yeah, I don't want to like hear about sports for 30, 40 minutes," and I'm like, it's really not.
Really?
Like, there may be
Who
like
doesn't?
sports for a little bit.
Why would they listen then? Like,
Well, I feel like we don't
y-
always
I
talk about
I
sports.
feel like some people would be the total opposite of that too. I feel like we're gonna get more sports oriented here in
Well,
like two or
yeah, I
three
feel like.
weeks.
Oh, okay. I did not know where you were going with that.
Yeah, you assumed, and you know what happens when you assume?
Well, that's all the time we've got this week. So thank you guys for stopping by for week 20. See you next week.